life of a wrestler is truly lived. The Triple H that I met backstage, I felt like he was in my corner. I felt like he was happy I was there, and I felt like he was there and would help me in every way possible. In fact, Triple H would be the man who provided me with my first ever pair of wrestling boots. Wrestling boots, again, are not cheap. So when he gifted me that very first pair of boots, I took that as a token of support.
Maven did a video that I thought he would never do, but he did. Let me make sure it loads and then we can talk. Perfect. Why I hate Triple H. Right then, read that title again on Maven's page. Why I hate Triple H. Now watch the actual tape. The man's telling you Hunter was charming, disarming, congratulating him, bought him his first pair of boots, and you start to question, that's the hate video? Here's where it gets really interesting, because two things can always be true when it comes to these type of stories. And Maven just proved it in a few seconds. So let's get into it. Let me say out loud his actual case, because the headline does it its disservice. And before I do that, let me pull up everything on this, because it is probably the most, I think, one of the most anticipated things that people wanted to hear from Maven, but it never happened. But we'll talk about it. So let's start with right here.
He even congratulated. In fact, the Triple H made sure we were all in the wrestling business for the right reasons. The man who threatened us with how the life of a wrestler is truly lived. The Triple H that I met backstage, I felt like he was in my corner. I felt like he was happy I was there, and I felt like he was there and would help me in every way possible. In fact, Triple H would be the man who provided me with my first ever pair of wrestling boots. Wrestling boots, again, are not cheap. So when he gifted me that very first pair of boots, I took that as a token of support. Early in my career, I would be under the tutelage of the game even more on the main event of SmackDown when he and I tagged against the...
So the good Hunter, in Maven's own words, mentored him. He's going to tag with him against
Undertaker and Kurt Angle. Going into this match, to say I was nervous would be a complete understatement.
So he gave him some boots. He saw that he took the job seriously. No notes. That's a man being generous to a rookie. But the grievances come later in this video. So let's take a look.
I was backstage, again, wondering why I decided to become a professional wrestler, wondering how to bottle these nerves up and somehow find the ability to go out and perform. And I found Triple H to be a North Star, to be someone I could go to, review the match over with. He was someone that definitely helped ease my nerves. He told me he would be out there and reminded me that we were tagging together, and under no circumstances was he going to look bad. And
at least he helped them. That's good, right?
And by default, I was going to then look good thanks to him.
There you go. He helps him to look good. What's the big deal? What's the big deal, Maeve?
This early match, he never asked me to do anything I wasn't comfortable with. And he made sure that we both found success that night. In fact, that entire first year of my career, I felt comfortable going up to Triple H and did so on a weekly basis. I would ask him questions about wrestling. I would pick his brain here and there. I felt like we were developing a little bit of a kindred spirit.
All right. They were working together, kindred spirits. What is the big deal, huh? Kindred spirits. Anyway.
A little bit of a friendship, dare I say. In fact, before they debuted what would become Evolution, I even pulled Triple H to the side, and knowing the scuttlebutt backstage, knowing that those four men were going to form a faction, knowing it was going to be the early 2000s version of the Four Horsemen, I even offered up a name to Hunter. I told him, hey, why don't you guys call yourselves the Regulators? And
the Regulators? What is that? The Regulators? Wow. Anyway.
And he politely told me, yeah, well, I think we got a name already picked out. And he even thanked me. And
at least he was nice about it. He's like, maybe not, but thank you. I still don't see what's going on. What's the issue with Triple H?
He didn't have to do that, but he did. My relationship with Triple H that first year was more teacher-student oriented. And I admit, it was one half. I did want to get better. I did want to learn wrestling. But the other half was, I knew this man had the keys to the kingdom. I knew where my bread was buttered. And hey, I'm definitely not too proud to admit there was a little bit of ass kissing, a little bit of brown nosing.
I guess he had to do it because the way they let people go, they remember you and they'll keep you, right? At least for the most part.
In there with every question I asked the game. In fact, one thing you might not know about Triple H, and it's definitely something that I admire in people. The man is funny. He has a quick wit. He's great with one-liners, and he has a very big sense of humor. Not many things offend.
Again, this is a very positive video. I'm trying to understand what his issues are.
Him, and he is definitely one to be in on the joke and many times be the one providing the joke. You might be shocked to find out that the relationship I had with Hunter on day one was the exact same relationship I had with Hunter on my last day in the WWE. What did change, however, was my trust I had in Triple H. And
there we go. The trust, which I feel like he might not be the first nor the last to say that. Interesting.
And I wasn't the only one. Yeah, guys backstage, guys at the ring, everybody was in his face, laughing, smiling, talking with the man. But they were also trying to better their spot on the card. They were trying to make sure their jobs would remain the next time Vince had his next round of cuts. But guys knew, guys felt, and guys would talk about how Triple H was meandering his way into Vince's good graces. Guys would constantly question his relationship with Steph, and I'm never gonna be the determining factor of love, whether it does or does not exist. It's not my job, but I do know the definition of the word convenience. And that was
convenience. Man, a lot of wrestlers are there, it looks like. Anyway.
Convenient relationship for Hunter. What I do know is Vince McMahon owned the WWE, and Stephanie's placement at her father's side made it mighty convenient for Triple H. Now, something I will always respect about Triple H is that he took his job seriously. He trained and carried himself like a professional. The older I get, the more
you can't take that away from Triple H. He is, after all, professional true and through. He works on his craft as a wrestler. He worked on his craft. He always worked hard. He always was one of the hardest workers in the room. Even when he was his short stint at WCW, he always worked hard. You can't take that away from him. But I feel like he was smart, in my opinion. He was smart, and he was always knowing that eventually he will retire and needs to figure out plan B once retirement happens. And, well, things came aligned, and he saw if it was worth it. And here we are. I mean, you can't blame the man for thinking intelligently of how to go about life, you know? Not many people can do that, and Triple H was able to accomplish that.
I understand that you can get away with a lot when you're young. Now, there are a lot of supplements out there making big promises, but these days, I actually watch what I put in my mouth. That's where...
Oh my God. No, you didn't. This guy is doing an advertisement. I can jump ahead. Thank you.
Link in the description. Now, I will admit, in my younger days, in my early career, I was a go with the flow type of person. I was trying to make friends, and I was trying to be liked. And guys would talk about Triple H behind his back with Vince McMahon and with Steph. Triple H would become an easy target for guys whose careers maybe didn't live up to what their hopes and expectations were, myself included. It was a lot easier to blame, hell, I'm not in the main event because, Triple H is dating Steph. I remember when he and Steph...
That has always been the story, that Triple H put himself there and so on and so forth. I mean, they look like they love each other. So it's always funny how people say, he got where he is because of who he married and so forth. And I'm sure a bunch of people in the comments will say the same thing. It's nothing new, nothing else. But we can assume, but we don't know how truthful it can be.
We're about to get married. The company
But it can point fingers. It could look obvious, but
actually forced us to go to his bachelor party. And you're
Oh.
saying, Maven, how did they force you to go to his bachelor?
yeah, how did they?
Here's how. We would fly in on Friday, wrestle 3 non-televised house shows. Then on Monday night, do Monday Night Raw and fly home every Tuesday. That was how it was week after week. Well, the company decided to have Triple H's bachelor party on a Tuesday night in a North Carolina strip club. And they
What?
conveniently made sure our flights were for Wednesday.
That's crazy. They forced the roster to attend Triple H's bachelor party to the point that they changed all their flights. What? Yo, I mean, think about it. If it's the bachelor party of the man that's married to the billion-dollar princess whose father is the man that gives you your paycheck, yeah, I guess everyone likes him or will after this.
We had to go. And I can't remember anyone.
Man, I hope they got well in advance notice that they are doing it, because heaven forbid, some of these wrestlers at the time were parents. They had kids and wives for the most part, know their schedule. They know when they're coming back, and this wasn't a last minute that maybe they had plans on a Wednesday or Thursday or whatever for something with the family, and now, oh no, honey, I can't do it because, you know, my boss is forcing me to do a bachelor party. Imagine how wild of a story that is if you call your wife and you tell them, I know we had to take the kids to Chuck E. Cheese's or take the kids to Six Flags or whatever, but unfortunately I can't do it Wednesday because I'm just going to fly in after having a bachelor party for Triple H on Tuesday. My boss is forcing me. Some wives may laugh at that. Like, oh, you're a liar. Who knows? For some, and that might be their truth reality. For some, maybe, the wife will say, oh, do what you got to do. But it sucks that you don't even get an option. Especially those that have, duties to do beyond work.
Not showing up. Why? Well, of course I was there because I like strip clubs, but most of the guys were there because they just didn't want to be the one that didn't show up to Triple H's bachelor party. Well, actually, there was one guy that didn't show up.
Who?
Who would that guy be?
Who?
Triple H himself.
No, he didn't.
Entire night, and Triple H would show up the last 20 minutes before closing time.
Triple H didn't even want to go to his party. Who set up this party then? If Triple H didn't want to go, and none of the workers that were being forced wanted to go for the most part, who was this party for? So weird. Did Vince set this up? Was I not paying attention to the video? Did they mention Vince is the one that set up the party? That's crazy. Wild. Anyway.
Now, I don't know how many guys would have came to his bachelor party if they would have just extended an invitation, but I guarantee you, and I know for a fact, it would not have been as many as they had since they were flying us out the next day. Hell, he didn't want to be there. Why the hell would I want to be there? Now,
right. That's my point.
Triple H would
That's
start to wane.
Hosting the party doesn't want to be there. Why would you want to go? You don't, if this person not believing the hype, unless it's a surprise. If it's a surprise, that's a different story. But it looks like they weren't even interested. Anyway, let's get to the grievances more.
You can always tell when someone is making jokes about you or they're making jokes to you, when they're trying to tell you how much respect they do or do not have for you. And his jokes would always err on the side of just making sure I knew my place in the wrestling business. And it wasn't just backstage. It wasn't just in snide comments. He did it on TV as well. And I would have people backstage tell me that they saw exactly what I was feeling. And I can even cite a specific example where Triple H wielded his backstage clout to degrade me on air. But we'll get to that later. I didn't know this during my time in the WWE, but I would have it confirmed years after my wrestling career had ended from someone who was actually in those production meetings. Someone.
But who would have told them? I wonder if Road Dogg told him. Maybe Road Dogg met him at a con after he got released this year, and Road Dogg spilled it on him. And maybe that's why he's doing the video now, because he got that information confirmed. I'm a legend, of course, but it's funny that this video's coming out now. Why didn't he do this early on? Why has Maven not released this video like in the first year of his YouTube channel, or when he first did a snide remark about Triple H? Because there's videos he's done that he says, "Really, Hunter?" Or he complains about some things that he saw that Triple H did, or you see how he reacts when he sees Triple H on some of the videos. Like, he respects him, but he gets annoyed at some things that he's done. So why when the first version of that you saw in him, why didn't he explain why he hates Triple H? I think it's interesting to know. Maybe someone recently have told him. It may not have been Road Dogg, but somebody probably told him.
Hey, here's a good idea. Here's a good direction that we can send Maven on. Here's something that we think he can find success doing. It would quickly be diminished. Nah, he's not ready. He's not there yet. He needs a little bit more time, a little bit more seasoning. And I'm not saying Triple H was wrong. He wasn't. I did need more time, and I wasn't ready. But I also know that there's been other people with the same skill level of me, and they did get that extra boost, that extra
There were
push.
plenty, yeah.
It's just hard to get that push when someone...
I hope he's not saying Batista's had that same issue. I don't know about that. But there you go. The grievances. Maven says years after he left, somebody finally, who had been in production meetings, told him every time his name came up, every time they were trying to push, Hunter quietly squashed it. He's not ready, needs more seasoning. And Maven's honest enough to say he probably wasn't ready, but others at his level got the boost anyway, which is true. I've seen some people not that great and they get a decent push. So that's a lot of information right there on why he might have a little hate in him. The hate isn't a tantrum. It just feels like a 20-year-old wound about a thumb on the scale that was done against him. But anyway.
The ear of Vince McMahon. Finding out after my WWE career had ended that what I initially thought was indeed true, it hurt. And it bothered me for a while. And so...
Okay, so for a while. So maybe he did find out not this year. Okay.
That's why if you ever see me taking what looks like pot shots at the man, that's probably my reasoning. That's definitely some of my reasoning behind it. I'm far from a perfect person, and sometimes it's hard knowing exactly where my abilities ended and where someone putting their thumb on the scales started. I in no way, shape, or form blame Triple H for my career or...
Well, look at that. You know, some people have blamed Triple H, have spited him, have hated him. This Maven is doing both. He's blaming him on or getting upset about things he's done, but he still appreciates the thing Triple H has given him. That's pretty nice. And that's how it should be sometimes, in all honesty. Like, if someone has been nice to you, don't forget the nice stuff, even though they've been maybe as of recently an ass to you. You know, like, don't let all the bad things that happen overtake some of the positive things you've gotten with a relationship with someone, you know? Otherwise, hate is a strong word, and hate can dominate a lot and can make you a worse person. And I'm glad, you know, at least for Maven's sake, he hasn't let it run him. He just gets a little annoyed and brushes it off. And I think that's what people like about Maven. He gets annoyed about things, but he brushes it off. He's just casual about things. Anyway, now let's continue.
But it just does hurt sometimes knowing that he indeed was weighing in not on my behalf.
Crazy, but hey, maybe Triple H. We never know every interior decision going on. Maybe there weren't enough spots and they can only push a certain amount, and unfortunately maybe was on the short end of the stick.
At this point, all of this, it's ancient history. It happened over 20 years ago, and I have let go of any bitterness that I once had.
That's great.
In fact, the handful of times I've seen Triple H since my departure from the WWE, it's always been cordial and it's always been friendly. And when he tells me he hopes I'm doing well, I actually believe him. And I hope he knows I feel the same way. But Hunter, It's now changed since my day.
Yep.
He is now the chief content officer at WWE, meaning he basically controls the whole show.
Yep.
The job that used to be held by Vince McMahon, it is now Triple H's. And some might say that's the prize he had his eye on the whole time. Now, I've said it before.
Like I said, it was his plan of what do I do after retiring from wrestling, because he knew his time was short. He probably knew as soon as he got his first big injury that he was out until like 2002 when he came back and he was wearing that jean leather jacket that everyone likes, that they have a replication on some websites. I think he knew then time is ticking and I have to think constructive. And maybe he did it even before that. So it's good for him that he thinks ahead. He's always thinking ahead. And as always, there's always a plan B.
I will say it again. I do not routinely watch WWE programming, but this channel has gotten me back into the mix a little bit. So how is Triple H doing these days? Well, it's a mixed bag. The positives I see these days, talent, they can pursue other ventures. They can build their own brand. And that was something that during my time was definitely not going to happen. Vince owned you and you thanked him for it. On a similar note, under Triple H's leadership, the WWE, it's way more open to working with other companies. Vince always viewed other companies as the enemy, enemies that he wanted to squash, enemies he wanted to take over. Under Triple H's leadership, they are working with TNA, and NXT, it is flourishing. Hunter is also not afraid of adapting. In my time, if my entrance took longer than 30 seconds, I would get an ass chewing. And today...
30 seconds? Can we get those back? Can we get these 30-second entrances back? Only make long entrances when it's a big PLE match. Do we need long entrances for SmackDown, Raw, or even a minor pay-per-view? Do we need these long entrances? You're taking too much of the wrestling time. I gotta agree with Vince on that one. I'm sorry. Like, it's fine doing long entrances, but it's not every match is a WrestleMania level match that requires that. That's some valid criticism.
All entrances are such an integral part of the characters and you, the fans. I
mean, that's fine, but they got to speed it up. I don't know.
Most of all, Hunter has helped to foster a new backstage element. They're trying to eliminate a toxic environment backstage and trying to be more open and aware of the mental health of their wrestlers.
Oh, that's good.
I see that as a positive. I also give Triple H credit on giving wrestlers more time to tell a story in the ring. During my time, an average wrestling match might take 6 minutes. And nowadays, wrestlers are given double that time. And that just helps with putting your match together, and it helps the wrestlers showcase what they're capable of. In the past is just how choreographed and how scripted.
Criticizing Triple H. I mean, he's given him earned creative criticism, or it might be just fans moving the goalposts. But let me ask you something. And let's actually be fair to both sides. Let's go with the earned column. Maven's macro critiques aren't crazy, and the IWC has been hammering the same nails for years now. For a few years now. Matches that look choreographed, that dance, not a fight, and ad load, and so forth.
Or it all looked pre-rehearsed. Additionally, the orgy of advertising has gotten out of control. You cannot watch the program without being bombarded with what you need to buy.
Look at all these ads.
What services you need to sign up for, or who should deliver you dinner. And it's ridiculous. It also destroys the flow of the show. As a viewer, you want to feel relaxed. You want to actually invest your time in the product, and you can't do it. It's difficult because as a match is going on, they are going to cut to commercial. And I get it. Hunter is just a cog in the TKO wheel, but he's also the top of the food chain, and heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Well, that's fair. One of the big ones he talked about is the lack of must-see urgency compared to the Monday night days. Now, that could be subjective, but he's not alone.
But my biggest critique of the
And
show
coming up
is
right
the
now.
overall lack of excitement. I remember during the Monday Night Wars, it was unthinkable to miss Monday Night Raw. And everybody was out the next day regurgitating Stone Cold Steve Austin's lines or asking, did you see that promo The Rock cut? It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Today, it's very easy and sometimes preferable to miss wrestling altogether. And I get it. We consume content different and we all like our bite-sized chunks of information.
TikTok and Reels and all that.
I ask myself, if those stars of the latter year were in today's business, would you not watch? I know I still would. Now, I know.
I mean, this is a very subjective matter because not, you know, a lot of people are going to talk about Monday Night Wars, Attitude Era, WCW, Monday Night Era, and all that. It's become a subjective thing because some people now prefer the ruthless aggression. It's just an opinion at this point. So don't go crazy on Maven about that.
You guys like to highlight anytime I go at Triple H, and that's perfectly fine. I hope you keep doing it. God knows I'm going to keep doing it on my end. But the truth is, I pull for Triple H. I want Triple H to be successful, both in wrestling and in his personal life. He did make me a better in-ring wrestler while also making his presence known backstage. But the truth of the matter is, to do what I have grown to love, this, I need Triple H to be successful. So Hunter, best of luck to you. Now, earlier I mentioned where...
Oh no, this is live. There we go. I apologize. I don't know why this thing keeps messing up on me. My computer's, I guess it's in its last leg and I have to fix it. Anyway, let me finish this and see how far this stream can go. I can't make promises at this point. It's been unbearable, the least I can say, because all I want to do is stream and I'm not catching a break right now, and it's just pissing me off at this point. Anyway, let's finish this so I can clip this video. So his video was great. I love the fact that Maven tends to state something in it. It is kind of true, but it's not at the same time. So he tells you two sides of a story because both can be true at the same time with him. And it's probably a great example of how good he is when it comes to YouTube, or at least video content. He can grab your attention, get you here to listen, and then you get caught into the whole story. So he's very good about that. Now, when it came to his criticism about Triple H now as a content creator, there's a few things he did. Now, he gave heat on Triple H for his earned criticism, or for lack of a better word, how fans keep moving the goalposts. Now, let me ask you something, and let's actually be fair to both sides when it comes to Maven and Triple H's and his criticism towards Triple H. Now, let's talk about the earned column. Maven's macro critiques aren't really crazy, and the IWC's been hammering the same nails about Triple H's creative. The matches that look choreographed, a dance, not a fight, and an ad load that wrecks the flow of the show at times. And his big one was the lack of must-see urgency compared to the Monday Night War days, which, you know, that last one can be subjective, but he's not alone with most people. Fans have been clocking the stable heavy, valiant heel booking for a while now. Now, another column, like a revisionist column, and this can be the other truth when it comes to Maven. Maven also hands Hunter a stack of credit in the same breath. Talent can build outside brands now. The company works with TNA and NXT instead of burying them. Entrances are characters with the character. The matches get more time for the most part when it comes to shows. And there's an actual mental health push backstage when it comes to wrestlers, apparently. Now, to me, that's not a man who hates the era. That's a man, for the most part, who, with one personal scar that he has, narrating a mostly positive ledger when it comes to this whole Triple H creative situation. So which is it? To me, it's both. The criticism is earned and the framing is revisionist. The title sells hate. The content delivers nuance. That's the trick of the whole video, and I have to applaud him for that. Now, let me lay out his actual case because the headline does it a little disservice of his video. The Good Hunter, in Maven's own words, was mentoring him. He tagged with him against the Taker and Angle, so he looked good. He gave him the boots, the initial boots he had, that he took the job seriously. No notes. That's a man being generous to a rookie. Now, so I'm throwing it to you a lot, and I'm reading, and I'm going to read the replies for this one because I think it's interesting when I go over Maven videos and see what people's thoughts are when it comes to this. Do you think fair criticism of Triple H bookings he has, or was it fans moving the goalposts? Because here's my honest thing when it comes to this. When the same fan who begged for less Vince now wants more chaos, that's goalpost moving. That's a great example of goalpost moving. But when a 20-year-old vet shows you receipts on flow, pacing, and ad load, do you think that's earned? Tell me where you land on that. And here's where I'm going to land on this. The most damning thing in Maven's whole video isn't an insult. It's that he says today it's easy, sometimes preferable to miss wrestling altogether. That line should scare TKO more than any hate video that people do out there nowadays. Because this one's coming from an old wrestler. Now hold that thought though, because I hope in the coming videos this can tie directly into it. So just stay tuned for more videos from our channel, and I hope you enjoy this. And as always, if the T hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.